I'm here with John Botle at LogiSYM APAC 2024 in Singapore. John, wonderful to meet you. How are you?
Good, thanks. Kind of day three here. It's got a bit tiring now because looking forward to the wind down now, to be honest. But it's been a really good 3 days.
Yeah, I was going to say it's been jam-packed. You've had cold chain today, yesterday. You've got the conference, you had the minister opening. You've had downstairs CeMAT. It's a bit of a, full of a whirlwind, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's also the first time for CeMAT to be here, so we've been pleased to be able to work with them. We brought quite a few things to the party, downstairs and upstairs. So yeah, it's been, first time. You don't really know how it's going to go, but pretty pleased. I think CeMAT are pretty pleased. We're certainly happy with what's happened up here.
Yeah, it's been a huge success, I'm sure.
Yeah.
John, tell us about your background in logistics and supply chain. I know you're a volunteer, so you've got to do this out of love.
Yeah, I do this for love. I got involved about 8 years ago, and I often say don't get involved with a committee or a charity. I'm heavily involved with two of those things, and sometimes they suck the life out of you a bit, but of course the end product is always worth it. Again, I'm from a shipping background, so I'm trying to bring perhaps the sea side of it. The logistics itself is incredibly scientific these days. I kind of like big old dirty ships. I'm happier there. But I'm still working very hard to bring some of the container shipping lines on board. They seem slow to take up the fact that we bring shippers. We have the people who put the cargo on their ships. So next year, honestly, if I've got at least one container line, you can shoot me.
Well, we won't hold you to that.
I'll fall on the sword.
No, look, John, you're absolutely right. I think, carriers, especially the maritime carriers, they need to be involved with this. There's discussions of sustainability, and essentially these forwarders and shippers are going to decide carriers based on carbon footprint, the sustainability impacts on CBAM and things like that in Europe. They have to get involved because they need to, show their credentials from a sustainability perspective as well.
Oh, you're exactly right. I mean, one of the new jobs that didn't even exist a few years ago is the sustainability chief officer, whatever. And we're hearing that the big shoe manufacturers, the Nikes of this world, they want to know that shipping line is conforming and doing the best it possibly can to be as green as possible. Slight humour in that because that the apparel industry has its own problems, as we know, but they're going to have to conform, and so there is no doubt they've got to sort of get on this and see the way ahead is to be certifiably green.
And I think it goes two ways as well, John. I mean, a lot of the people in the room would love to hear from carriers about IMOs, some of the impacts, some of the ways that they're changing the fuel system, the actual carbon impacts are going to slow down transit times. There's going to be significant impacts that everyone in the room needs to discuss and learn from each other.
Yeah. Singapore's a very good example because, we've got hundreds of ships out there at any one time, often just anchored up for 2 or 3 days waiting to fuel up. I, for one, I've lived here 10 years. I noticed the air difference living here compared to even London. I could breathe the air in London better than you can here. And I'm sorry to say a lot of that is down to those ships that are off there. Of course, I'm not going to knock shipping in any way, shape or form, but it is true. And the change over the next 30 years, will benefit everybody for sure.
Yeah. Well, what's been your biggest takeaway from the last 3.5 days? It's been pretty jam-packed, and I heard you guys had a really good awards night.
Yeah, the awards night was good. It's the first time we've done awards for the last few years, but we've just kind of tagged it on to the end of the conference. The first time we made a bit of a night of it. It wasn't profit making. It wasn't to try and flog a few tables. It was genuinely to give back, and it went brilliantly. It was smaller. I've done big awards myself. This was small, intimate, lots of people walking around chatting, everybody pretty happy. Yeah.
Good, wonderful. Well, absolute pleasure to talk to you, John, and look forward to catching up with you at another LogiSYM event when you're volunteering.
Yeah, well, we'll be here next year for sure, and probably at least one more time this year. So
and let's get the word out to carriers and make sure you contact John and get along.
Yes, container operators, you know who you are. Please get in touch with me and sponsor next year. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thanks,
Cheers.
John.
Thanks ever so much. Cheers.